Conservation through having smaller families. Part C, People. More than 10% of all the people who have ever lived are alive today and depend on the earth for resources. World population is increasing. It may pass 9 billion by the middle of the 21st century. The main cause of population increase is better medical care. More babies survive to adulthood and produce families of their own. If we accept modern medical care, and we all do, then we must also accept the responsibility that goes with it. To have only a small number of children to counterbalance our improved survival rate. Statistics vary, but it has been said that 2.2 children per family would keep the world's population at its present level, given the medical care available to us today. There are many indications that the world population is now too high. So, to reduce it, 2, 1 or 0 children in a family are responsible choices for married couples to make. Secondly, in a country having good medical care, a person may live to about 70 years. The earth must supply all his needs every day of his life for 70 years. If a person becomes a parent when he is about 20 years old, then Earth must support parent and child together for 50 years or so. If he becomes a parent later, for example at 30, Earth supports parent and child together for a shorter time. So having children later in married life means Earth does not have to support so many people at once. Why is it important to talk now about having smaller families and about having children later in married life? There are many reasons why we can say Earth's population is too high, and now is the time to bring it down. The first reason is food. Each person needs food to live. Many people will need a large amount of food to live. Whether we grow our own food or whether we buy food grown by others, a certain area of earth is under agriculture to give us our daily food. Earth's population is getting bigger, but Earth is not getting any bigger. When food runs out in certain places, there is widespread suffering because there are more people to suffer. And the ability of rich nations to help out is reduced as their own population's requirements increase. The second reason is the disappearance of the forests. Each person needs timber products. Many people will need a large quantity of timber products. The forests are being cut down to supply people with timber products, firewood and good agricultural soil. Trees grow slowly. Natural regrowth and tree plantations are not keeping pace with the amount of forest destroyed. People need forests. They contribute to our needs for fresh air, clean water, and the beauties and variety of nature. So the disappearance of the world's forests shows that the earth is already overpopulated. A third reason we can say the earth is overpopulated is the disappearance of wildlife. Some are hunted for food, others for fur, feathers, tusks, horns, or just for sport. As long as there is a market for these animal products, there will be those who will kill wildlife to supply the market. The increasing number of people who fill shops and marketplaces are the ones who buy wildlife products. Also, many types of animals are getting fewer in number by destruction of their place to live, in particular the forests. In a few years, the only evidence of some living things may be found in books, zoos, and museums. Another reason we can say the world is overpopulated is the short world supply of meat, such as beef. A fixed amount of sun's energy reaches Earth each day. A small percentage only of this solar energy is captured by green plants. Some of this energy helps the plant grow and stay alive. A small amount only goes on to an animal that eats it, and a smaller amount to the person who eats animal meat. So, a fixed amount of sun's energy can only give a fixed amount of meat from a given land area. Now, tropical forests in some countries are being cut down to raise cattle, to supply the market in developed countries which can no longer satisfy their own demand for meat. Increasing dependence on nuclear energy is another reason that we may say the Earth's population is too great. Each person needs a source of energy for lighting, cooking, heating, cooling, transport, and to help in industrial manufacture of goods. As population grows, energy needs get bigger and bigger. The sun is the Earth's main energy source and supplies us with a fixed daily ration of low-power energy. In ages past, the sun's energy was captured by green plants living in prehistoric swamps. The fossil fuels, coal, gas and oil, formed from such prehistoric living material. Fossil fuels are a bank of solar energy which we use today for our main energy needs. They are a medium power energy source and give the high living standard of some countries. But what happens when the bank of fossil fuels finishes? Will we be left with our low daily ration of solar energy and a high world population, many of whom are used to a high standard of living requiring a large amount of energy? The energy crisis is often given as a reason for turning to nuclear power, a high-power energy source. But nuclear power stations can make materials which may be used for atomic weapons. And radioactive wastes from reactors stay dangerous for very long periods of time. A sensible way is to reduce world population so that our daily solar energy ration is enough for our needs. Alternative, safe, low-power sources can keep a few people at a high living standard, but not many people at a high living standard. We may also look at the question of unemployment as too many people rather than not enough jobs. All jobs depend originally on the productivity of the earth in mining, forestry, fishing, agriculture. Governments may decide how existing resources will be used and shared, for example through jobs. But a government cannot create new resources to give jobs as population increases. If a resource is used up, jobs depending on it will also run out. Unemployment is increasing worldwide, so we may say there are now too many people for available jobs. We can also say there are too many people in the world because the percentage of poor people is increasing, and the gap between rich and poor is widening. Developed societies with 25% of the world's people use 80% of world resources. Less developed societies have 75% of the people, but 20% of the resources. The price of a manufactured item is cost of raw materials, plus labour costs for making, transporting and selling it, plus profit. Underdeveloped countries must sell a lot of raw materials to buy back a small quantity of manufactured goods from developed countries. Poverty in many countries is maintained by a flow of resources from less developed to more developed areas. And as resources flow to more developed areas, people migrate in the same direction, seeking jobs based on those resources. More than half the world's population now lives in urban areas, many in very poor conditions. One person in a developed society uses as much of the world's resources as 12 people in an underdeveloped area. People in poor societies need to have smaller families because they do not earn much by selling their raw materials, so there is less to go around. And if they have more children, population goes up faster, and so does the destruction of nature. People in rich societies need to have smaller families because most resources go to such places, causing a very big impact on nature. A final reason for saying there are too many people is that it takes time to make a change. It takes time to bring about changes that would result in a voluntary decrease in world population. If world resources run low when population is high, then we can expect an increase in crime, warfare, famines, and other kinds of suffering. To choose only a small family at this stage in history is to contribute more than children to tomorrow's world. It is to ensure that there will be enough resources available and the natural world can be protected. This talk is based on the booklet Conservation Through Having Smaller Families at www.population.org.au. Thank you.